Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
So when we buy this company, the head of the company will be a great regional manager. Several reasons for that. A dependable professional, born and raised in the area, knows, the market inside out. The big plus is that the industry in general is facing very harsh staffing issues, across the whole country. And this owner has an approach that is interesting. She's hiring, about 10 employees on the field per week. So she's got about 350 employees on the payroll. Some, work a couple hours a week, some work full-time, etc. But that strategy, please.
She's in her mid-40s, is she?
She's in her mid-40s. And that strategy allows her, one, not to face the staffing pressure in the industry, and two, keep a good reputation in the market. Because as soon as an employee messes up or goes crooked, she can fire that individual immediately and keep a good quality of service. It's an off-market deal, found via cold call. The original motivation of the owner is that she just had a baby a week ago. She wanted to take her foot off the gas a little bit. She owns 95% of the company. Another lady owns 5%. And when I met with her, I told her about the potential about becoming a regional manager in our company, etc. And that sparked her, her interest, her love for the industry again. And she told me, look, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom for a couple months, and then I'd be very interested to be part of this bigger company, bigger group. So her motivation has switched over the last couple of weeks.
Why is she selling?
Why is she selling? Well, that's what I just said. Originally, she wanted to take her foot off the gas a little bit, and then meeting with me and understanding what our group represented for her potential future, the opportunity of her becoming a regional manager, etc. Now, that is her new motivation. Good margins, between 35 and 40% year on year. The main negative is that it's a very young business. The company was founded in 2019. That being said, it's growing at a very rapid pace. It's doubled its numbers in the last year. It's going to end the year with about 720,000 EBITDA.
What's the revenue?
Revenue will be around 3.6, 3.7 by the end of the year. The way we structured our initial offer, this is not something I usually like to do, but she wanted to. I usually don't like to give owners choices, right? We come with our offer and it's take it or leave it, basically. But she wanted to see 3 different types of structures. First one, what would it look like if she could get a little bit of money up front without specifying a specific amount? Second offer, what would it look like if we did a 60-40, i.e. acquire 60% and she'd roll over 40% of her equity for, let's say, about 5 years. Third offer, what would it look like with 100% seller finance? Because I let her understand we could most likely offer her a better price. So we presented the 3 offers. Even the offer where she would get some money up front, that money would not really be up front, would be coming from the profit she generates. So the upfront money would actually be paid within 4 or 5 months after we acquired the company. The way we valued the company, we took the traditional way of taking the past 3 years EBITDA, trailing 3 years EBITDA, averaging them out, adding a multiple. She flat out refused our offer, explaining that last January she went through the same exercise by a doctor-led group, and she turned down a $3 million offer, and she had $3 million stuck in her head. Well, that doesn't really concern us, but we took it into consideration, and given that she is agreeing to a 100% seller finance deal, we agreed to exceptionally value the company based on the trailing 12 months numbers only, okay? Because we understand it's a new company, and if we take the past 3 years average, there was the third year that had negative numbers, and it screws the whole average, okay? We could have gone that way and added an earn-out for her to get her money back, but the deal would not have closed. So we take the trailing 12 months numbers, and we told her we'll add a multiple of 3 to 5. We'll pay it around 5 years, and we said there's a whole number of other details we included in the offer, but we sent the LOI out last night, and she is to revert to us by next Friday. So I'll keep you guys posted how.
So how much more? Well, so what would be the ostensibly the final purchase price?
So 3 to 5, we'll push for 3. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean the
1.8
so that 1.8 equates to 3, or does it equate to 5?
to 3.
3. Okay. 1.8 million EBITDA, if I understood you correctly, was $700,000
Correct.
trailing 12 months.
Correct.
Or will it be that including this December?
It will be including December.
And numbers that you've seen are through where?
Through November. And if I annualize these numbers, I got 528,000 for 2022.
Okay.
She claims she had a record last couple of weeks, and it will be around 720. So to be seen.
Okay.
To be seen. Then we're increasing her and her partner's salary because they're underpaid. And we have to deduct from EBITDA about $50K because we need to hire another HR personnel. Given that she's hiring so many professionals, she needs a second HR. So the adjusted EBITDA would be 625 multiplied by 3, 1.875. So if we take the 2022 numbers, that would give us a DSCR of 1.66 without taking into consideration future growth of the company. They're expecting a 20% growth year on year to be demonstrated to us via business plan shortly. That's where we stand. Again, the only reason why we accepted to only take the last year's number to value the company instead of averaging the last 3 years is because we really want to make that acquisition, because we're looking at about three other deals, about half an hour drive from that company, and she would be a perfect regional manager, and we could use some of her competent staff to grow the other companies quickly. So that's the situation.
So what does the group think?
You're a motivated buyer.
Yeah, that's what I fear, that I demonstrated too much motivation to her. That's true. And she's acting.
What ethnicity is she?
She's American white.
You mean white?
Yes.
Now, it sounds racist as shit, but I'm going to just tell you flat out. 95% of all of the deals that crater or fraud are Asian, Black, Russian. Russians are white, right? Yeah, Russians are white. Russian, 95%. In China, for example, if I'm your lawyer, it's an honor for me to lie for you. If I'm your accountant in China, it's an honor for me to lie for you. And the white, I mean, for your first few deals, white. No Hispanic, nothing, white. You want Jones, Smith, whatever. Afterwards, you can start to try to unprove my ethnicity rule, which you'll fail at, believe me. But again, Florida and New Jersey are the two hardest places for home health and assisted living because of fraud. Okay, that's just the way it is, because there's been a lot of fraud. So the state officials in both of those states make it hard. To the extent that licenses have to be transferred, okay, they tell you 60 to 90 days. It's 180 to 270 days. Okay. Now there's a way around that. Somebody remind me to tell you how you get around that in the group, so I don't have to repeat it 5 times. But there's a way around that. It's not the best alternative, but it's an alternative because until the licenses are transferred, you don't own it.
Is that management?
Exactly. It's a management contract that the Viking bitch talks about, that she doesn't really explain it right, but she knows it works. Okay. In her particular case, it took 11 months. And so, but she was in charge of the cash flow. She paid the motivated seller $3,000 a month for the privilege of enacting a management contract. The business has only been around since 2019.
Yes, sir.
That's not much. And so she's a Corona company, basically.
She's a
COVID company, basically.
Yeah.
I would be suspect about that. If she was Nigerian or something, I would say just run like a thief in the night and make sure that you still got your pants on when you get out of the room.
There's about 250 of these private duty home health companies in the county, and she's the most successful. Being that young, given her growth rate, so there's a lot of potential. But
man's greatest burden is unfulfilled potential. Man's greatest burden. And having been with you kids for almost 30 years, once in a while, you get somebody like the melonhead from Austria who's down there raping the Swiss. You know, that's done 20 deals this year. I mean, he's as thick as two short planks. That means he's got a 40 IQ. But I'd rather be lucky than smart. He had 14 deals collapse. 14, and then he did 20. Okay? But that's an anomaly. That's not the rule. We can't be buying companies on his rule. I just was listening to him earlier. He kind of knows what he's doing, but he doesn't really know what he's doing. Of course, the Viking bitch doesn't really know what she's doing either. But the beauty about this model, and it sounds awful, you can be as thick as, that means you can be a minus intellect and get rich off this deal, off these models. Well, i.e., that's not the only reason you guys are here, but I mean, and you don't have to have any money in the deal, okay? So, so now what are you going to do if she accepts your LOI? She hasn't accepted it, right?
I sent it out last night.
Okay, so she gets back in 2 days from now, whenever the time frame. Yeah, I like the deal. Then what are you going to do?
We're starting the due diligence process.
Okay, who's going to do the DD?
Our team is going to do the due diligence process. It's a small enough deal to not involve.
It should be, but a caveat. Some of these guys have been out of the trenches 10, 20 years.
Yes.
And they are rusty. Mm-hmm. And the deals that I see get fucked up when we do our own due diligence are when the guys, the first 2 or 3 deals, when they're out of retirement or they're back in the trenches, they make mistakes. The other thing is some of the rules have changed. So somebody on your team's got to be up to date with what currently, and especially in Florida and especially in New Jersey, the rules have changed. And most of the rules have tightened up because of the fraud. Because a lot of people are, just willy-nilly stealing money. Now, this would be a share deal?
This is a private duty company, so there's no Medicare license. So we could probably do an asset deal, but I need to look into what license are involved.
Asset deals are much better for us, for you guys. But how old is she?
She's 46.
Well,
Her partner is in her late 20s.
Okay. The one that owns
5% only.
Okay.